In the sprawling halls of Crestmont Academy, a private institution reserved for the city's elite, one soul walked silently through the marble floors, barely noticed, often overlooked. Her name was Arya, dressed in modest, second-hand clothes, and shoes scuffed from years of use. She was a stark contrast to the designer-clad teens around her. Every day, she walked the path from the gates to her classroom, head slightly lowered, not in shame, but in survival. Her scholarship was a miracle for her family. Her mother worked 2 jobs, and her father, long gone, was just a faded picture in an old wallet. The other students didn't know this, of course. They only saw a girl with no iPhone, no car, no high-end clothes, and no name-brand bag. Among those who noticed her at all, the reaction was always the same: laughter, mockery, and whispers that followed her like shadows. There were 3 names that stood out among them: Tasha, Liam, and Chloe. Tasha, the queen bee. With golden curls, a rich father who funded half the school's events, and a mouth that dripped venom disguised as charm. Liam, the heir to a tech empire, who had never known a life without luxury. And Chloe, Tasha's echo, who laughed not because she wanted to, but because she didn't dare to stop. Arya's troubles began the very first week of school, when she accidentally spilled water on Tasha's designer notebook during a science lab. The reaction was swift. "Ew. Can't you see, peasant?" Tasha sneered, tossing the wet paper in the trash and glaring at Arya. "Bet this costs more than your entire wardrobe." The class burst into laughter, and Arya stood frozen, her cheeks burning, her lips pressed tight. She didn't respond. Not then, not ever. She simply picked up the dropped pen, apologized, and walked back to her seat. It wasn't the only time. Day after day, they made her the butt of cruel jokes. During lunch, they'd walk by her table, mock her lunchbox meals, or accidentally knock over her water bottle. Once, they replaced her library essay with blank pages before submission, almost costing her grade. Through it all, Arya remained silent, but not because she was weak. She had learned the power of patience from her mother, the strength in not lashing out, because deep down, Arya knew something they didn't, something none of them could guess. She had a secret, one that could change everything. Arya was brilliant, beyond brilliant. The kind of student that solved equations in minutes, wrote essays that stunned her professors, and built coding projects in her free time that could rival actual tech startups. She didn't show off. She didn't need to. Her teachers noticed, though her computer science teacher, Mr. Nolan, often stayed back to ask about her projects. He once tried to nominate her for an international tech competition, but Arya humbly refused. "Not yet," she had said softly. "I just want to make it through this year." Mr. Nolan nodded, but curiosity remained in his eyes. The ridicule continued, and with the school's annual talent showcase approaching, Tasha and her gang were already planning their extravagant stage performance, complete with music, lights, and backup dancers. "It's going to be a showstopper," Chloe boasted in the cafeteria. "We've got the best budget. My dad even hired a choreographer from New York." Everyone clapped. Everyone except Arya, who was quietly sketching something in her notebook, her lunch untouched. Liam noticed. He sauntered over. "What you're drawing? Genius?" He snatched the notebook. A complex diagram stared back at him, a blueprint of some sort of holographic projection system. He blinked. "What is this?" Arya reached for it. "Give it back, please." Relax, Liam smirked. "Looks like nerd scribble to me." He tossed it back, but the damage was done. They now knew she was working on something, and their curiosity was piqued. That night, Arya returned home to their tiny apartment above a grocery store. Her mother was asleep on the couch, still in her nurse's uniform. Arya gently covered her with a blanket and walked to her little desk, cluttered with tools, wires, and a half-assembled device. The blueprint in her notebook wasn't just an idea, it was real. She was building something revolutionary, a portable hologram projector powered by AI recognition, device that could change presentations forever. For the talent showcase, while others would sing and dance, Arya planned to unveil something that could make the audience forget every cruel word spoken about her. She worked night after night, sleepless, focused, determined. but word had gotten around. Chloe overheard Arya requesting access to the school's auditorium tech room. Tasha wasn't pleased. "We can't let her show us up," she hissed. "She's not even supposed to be here. She got in on some sympathy scholarship, right?" "This is our spotlight," Liam smirked. What if her little project doesn't work at all? So they hatched a plan. The night before the showcase, while Arya stayed late perfecting the final code in the tech lab, they snuck in through the maintenance door and pulled out the power fuses from the projector system. No power, no show, no chance. The next morning, as students filled the decorated auditorium, excitement buzzed through the air. Parents, teachers, board members, all seated and ready. The performances began, songs, dances, skits. Then came Tasha and her crew, strutting to the stage in glittering costumes, performing a Broadway-style number that earned loud applause. And finally, last on the list Arya, she walked quietly to the stage with her small device in hand. Mr. Nolan stood by the side, giving her a reassuring nod. But as she powered the machine, nothing. The screen stayed dark. Tasha smirked from her seat. Murmurs filled the room. What is this? Is she lost? Arya froze, heart pounding. She tapped the device again, tried to reset. Still, nothing. Mr. Nolan quickly went backstage to check the system. Then he saw the missing fuse, the tampering. He gasped. Meanwhile, Arya stood under the spotlight, every eye on her. And she could feel the sting of every laugh, every whisper. But then something sparked. She reached into her backpack and pulled out a backup, a mini prototype. It couldn't project large scale like the main one, but it worked. She placed it on the podium, powered it with her portable battery, and within seconds, a glowing 3D hologram of an ancient civilization shimmered in the air. Gasps echoed. The hologram spoke, moved, interacted. It narrated history. People leaned forward in awe. Students pulled out their phones. Parents clapped. And when it ended, the lights dimmed and came back on to a standing ovation. Smile was gone. Liam sat stunned. Chloe looked embarrassed. Mr. Nolan returned, fuming. He walked to the microphone. I'd like everyone to know that what Arya just showed you wasn't just a performance, it was an invention. One she created on her own. It could revolutionize education. Someone tried to sabotage it. The room fell silent. Tasha's face went pale. But genius, Mr. Nolan continued, turning to Arya, always finds a way. That night, Arya walked home not in silence, but with a crowd of students around her. Some asking questions, others apologizing. Tasha didn't say a word, but the next day, everything would change. The halls of Crestmont Academy buzzed with murmurs the morning after the showcase. For once, Arya wasn't walking alone. Students who had never said a word to her now offered smiles, handshakes, even compliments that sounded rehearsed but sincere. Hey, that was amazing yesterday, one boy muttered, glancing away quickly. You made history class. Like actually. Cool, said another girl with bright pink headphones. Even some teachers who rarely noticed her before offered nods of acknowledgement, one of them clapping her lightly on the back as she entered class. But Arya didn't soak in the praise. She stayed quiet, focused. She knew attention was fleeting. What mattered now was the truth. Mr. Nolan had taken the tampered projector parts to the principal's office that morning. By lunch, Principal Whitaker summoned Tasha, Liam, Chloe, and Arya into his office. They sat across from him, a long silence. Hanging in the air as he held up the fried fuse in his hand. Do you know what this is? He asked calmly. Tasha blinked innocently. Liam stared at the floor, and Chloe fidgeted with her bracelet. It's a piece of Crestmont's equipment, the principal continued, intentionally removed to sabotage. A student's presentation. I've reviewed the security footage. We have clear images. You three were in the tech room the night before the showcase. Tasha's face flushed red. We didn't mean any harm, she stammered. It was just a prank. Sabotage is not a prank, Mr. Nolan cut in sharply. You could have destroyed years of Arya's work. Do you understand that she built that technology by hand? With zero school funding, while juggling 3 AP courses and working a part-time job? Chloe's eyes filled with tears. We didn't know. We didn't know she was, that smart. You didn't bother to find out, Principal. Whitaker snapped. Because you judged her clothes instead of her character. Arya sat quietly, watching the scene unfold. Wasn't angry, she was tired. Years of silent bullying had hardened her, but now the truth stood for itself. The principal issued a strict punishment. A month of disciplinary action, school, service, and a public apology. If there's ever a repeat of such behavior, he warned, you'll be suspended indefinitely. Crestmont is an institution for leaders, not for cruelty wrapped in privilege. That afternoon, during the final school assembly of the semester, something unexpected happened. Tasha stood on stage, her voice trembling. I need to apologize, she began, clenching the microphone. Not just to Arya, but to every student we ever made feel small. We thought money made us better. It doesn't. Arya's brilliance, her hard work, her grace under pressure. She taught us something we never learned in class. I'm sorry, there was stunned silence. Chloe and Liam stepped beside her, heads low. Arya stood at the back, frozen. She didn't need this apology, but hearing it in front of everyone's students. Teachers, even parents, gave her a quiet kind of peace. Later that evening, Mr. Nolan pulled Arya aside. There's someone I want you to meet, he said. He led her to the school library where a tall woman in a tailored suit stood near the reading table, holding a sleek laptop. Arya, Mr. C. Nolan smiled. This is Dr. Renee Voss, director of the Global Youth Innovators Program. I sent her footage of your showcase. She was blown away. Dr. Voss stepped forward and extended a hand. Arya, we've been searching for students like you, creators, thinkers, disruptors. I want to offer you a place in our international fellowship. You'll get access to labs, mentorship, even a grant to further your hologram project. And you'll represent your country at the Tech World Youth Summit in Geneva next summer. Arya's breath caught in her throat. For a moment, she didn't speak. Her mind drifted to her mother asleep on the couch, the ramen dinners, the second hand, books, the years of silence, and now this. She shook Dr. Voss's hand with a soft thank you. That night, when Arya returned home, she found her mother reading a worn-out magazine. Arya gently placed the fellowship letter in her lap. Her mother stared at it, confused, then read it aloud slowly. When she realized what it meant, tears spilled from her eyes. You did it, she whispered. You did it. My girl. We did it, Arya replied, holding her tightly. News spread like wildfire. Social media was flooded with clips from the showcase. Crestmont girl creates futuristic tech. One headline read, From rags to genius, meet Arya, the student, who silenced her bullies with brilliance, said another. Offers poured in. Universities reached out, sponsorships were discussed, but Arya remained humble. She didn't post anything flashy. No I told you so captions. No revenge speeches. She simply kept building, kept dreaming. Back at school, things changed. Students no longer mocked her. They asked for her help, joined her study groups, invited her to events. Even Tasha approached her in the hallway. I know we'll never be friends, she said quietly, but I admire you. Truly. Arya nodded. Thank you. Forgiveness didn't require friendship. It required understanding, and that was enough. Months passed and graduation approached. On the final day, Arya took the stage once more, not for a presentation, but as valedictorian. Her voice rang clear. We come from different worlds. Some of us wore designer clothes. Some of us wore secondhand. But what truly defines us isn't wealth or fashion. It's the fire inside us, the dreams we chase, and the courage to rise above what people think we are. The crowd erupted in applause. Some teachers wiped their eyes. Arya walked off the stage, diploma in hand, a soft smile on her face. As she exited the building for the last time, she paused at the doors and looked back once, not with regret, but with gratitude. Crestmont had tried to break her. But in the process, it revealed who she truly was. And now, the world would know too. Asterisk.